Winchester 73 wasn't just a Western. It was Hollywood's first points deal that transformed actor compensation forever. Jimmy Stewart's comeback vehicle after war trauma destroyed his innocence, Fritz Lang's rejected project that made Anthony Mann a Western master, and the film where Stewart practiced Winchester techniques until his knuckles bled because trick-shooting legend Herb Parsons demanded absolute authenticity. Behind the perfect marksmanship lay a production where Universal couldn't afford Stewart's $200,000 salary, so they gambled on profit percentage, where Shelley Winters never understood why men cared more about guns than women, and where Rock Hudson played a Native American chief while Tony Curtis appeared as a cavalry trooper in roles that launched both careers. What audiences saw as the first adult Western was Stewart's desperate attempt to shed his all-American image, Mann's complete script rewrite transforming the rifle into character, and a phenomenon that earned Stewart $600,000 through cinema's first profit participation deal. Today, we're tracking the Winchester through 18 weird facts, and stick around for a bonus fact about the contest that turned props into treasure hunts. Number 18. Stewart's revolutionary profit deal. James Stewart's compensation for Winchester 73 created Hollywood's first points deal in the sound era, revolutionizing star payment. Universal couldn't afford Stewart's $200,000 salary after Harvey established him as bankable. Executives proposed an alternative: no upfront salary, but 50% of net profits after Universal recouped costs. Agent Lou Wasserman negotiated the groundbreaking deal, gambling the film would succeed. If Winchester 73 flopped, Stewart earned nothing. But the Western became a massive hit, and Stewart ultimately earned approximately $600,000, triple his standard salary. This arrangement changed Hollywood forever. Other stars immediately demanded similar deals, shifting power from studios to talent. Kirk Douglas, Burt Lancaster, and others followed within years. The deal also benefited Universal. Deferring Stewart's compensation meant they could mount production immediately. Winchester 73 proved profit-sharing worked for both parties, establishing financial structure that still governs top-tier talent deals today. Number 17. Universal's budget gamble. Universal faced a dilemma. Stewart wanted both Harvey and Winchester 73, but the studio couldn't afford his $200,000 per picture salary twice. Harvey was prestigious, virtually guaranteed Oscar consideration. Winchester 73 was a Western, a genre considered commercially dead in late 1940s. Executives paid full salary for Harvey while proposing profit participation for Winchester 73, believing the Western was higher risk. This calculation proved spectacularly wrong. Harvey earned modest returns. Winchester 73 became a phenomenon, revitalizing Westerns and earning far more money. Universal's inability to pay standard salaries forced innovation that ultimately made them more money. Stewart was personally invested in Winchester 73's success, promoting aggressively and maintaining quality standards. The gamble demonstrated that cash-poor studios could attract major talent through creative deal structure. Number 16. Fritz Lang's rejected direction. Fritz Lang, legendary director of M and Metropolis, was Universal's first choice to direct. Executives envisioned Lang's precision and noir sensibility applied to Western mythology. But Lang rejected the project after learning it would be produced through Stewart's Diana Productions, which gave Stewart significant creative control. Lang refused to work where stars held more power than directors. His European auteur sensibility demanded complete authority, incompatible with Stewart's production company. Lang told executives that actor-driven companies undermined cinema's artistic integrity. The studio moved to Anthony Mann, a contract director known for low-budget noirs but untested in westerns. Stewart had seen Mann's Devil's Doorway and recognized his talent. Lang's rejection proved fortunate. Mann's collaboration with Stewart created 5 masterpiece westerns, while Lang's rigid control might have clashed with Stewart's collaborative instincts. Number 15. Mann's complete script rewrite. Director Mann found the original screenplay pedestrian and dramatically inert. The script treated the Winchester as simple MacGuffin. Mann collaborated with screenwriter Borden Chase to completely reconceptualize the story, transforming the rifle from plot device into character, a curse destroying everyone who possesses it. Mann explained, "I wanted the rifle to be the bone of contention, not just a matter of life and death." The original followed the rifle episodically with disconnected vignettes. Mann's rewrite wove everything thematically, showing how desire for the rifle reflects human appetites: greed, revenge, ambition, survival. The rifle becomes a mirror revealing each character's nature. The screenplay earned a Writers Guild nomination for Best Written American Western, vindicating Mann's revisions. Their collaboration established working method Mann used throughout his Western career, taking conventional scenarios and elevating them through psychological depth. Number 14. Herb Parsons' trick shooting. Winchester repeating arms sent exhibition shooter Herb Parsons as technical advisor, ensuring authentic firearm handling. Parsons was legendary. He could shoot aspirin tablets tossed in air, hit targets doing handstands, and perform impossible stunts. Parsons personally trained Stewart in lever action techniques, teaching the rifle's mechanics. Stewart practiced obsessively, spending hours manipulating the Winchester until he developed muscle memory. Crew members found Stewart on set during breaks, endlessly cycling the lever action. Mann discovered Stewart with bleeding knuckles from repetitive practice, the actor refusing stunt doubles for shooting sequences. Parsons performed the impossible trick shots in the competition sequence. His expertise gave Winchester 73 unprecedented authenticity. Contemporary audiences raised on firearms recognized the difference between this film and typical Hollywood westerns where guns were props rather than precision instruments. Number 13. Stewart's bleeding knuckles. Stewart's commitment bordered on obsessive. Mann repeatedly found Stewart between takes practicing until his knuckles bled from friction against the Winchester's metal action. Stewart refused gloves or padding, insisting his hands match a genuine frontiersman's. The physical toll was substantial. Stewart's hands developed calluses, cuts, and bruises. Crew worried about infection, but Stewart dismissed concerns. Maintaining comfort was less important than authenticity. This dedication reflected Stewart's broader approach. He was determined to shed his Mr. Splank, by rule, blank Smith persona and prove he could play harder, darker characters. World War II had transformed Stewart from idealistic everyman into haunted veteran. The bleeding knuckles became metaphor for Stewart's willingness to damage himself pursuing artistic transformation. The physical authenticity made Winchester 73 feel grittier than sanitized Hollywood westerns. Number 12. Shelley Winters' confusion. Actress Shelley Winters never understood Winchester 73's appeal or why men obsessed over the rifle. In later interviews, Winters admitted she found the premise, baffling grown men chasing a gun, struck her as absurd rather than dramatic. Her confusion shows in her performance, which critics noted seemed disconnected. Winters had built her career playing urban characters. Transplanting her to the frontier felt like miscasting. She complained her role lacked definition. Lola exists as romantic interest with minimal development. Winters lobbied Mann for additional scenes explaining Lola's background, but the director refused, insisting the rifle remain the focus. She later called it one of those tough jobs you do for the paycheck. Critics agreed Winters seemed miscast. The disconnect between Winters' urban sophistication and frontier setting created cognitive dissonance that weakened the romantic subplot. Number 11. Will Geer's Earp miscast. Actor Will Geer, cast as Wyatt Earp in the Dodge City opening, felt profoundly miscast. Geer was a progressive activist who would later be blacklisted for refusing to testify before HUAC. Playing the iconic lawman who enforced order through violence contradicted his pacifist principles. Geer accepted because he needed work, but never connected with Earp's character. He expressed discomfort, glorifying a man who used violence to maintain control, seeing Earp as proto-fascist rather than heroic. His performance is notably stiff. Mann recognized the miscasting but had limited options. Geer was cast before Mann joined. The sequence works despite Geer's discomfort because Wyatt Earp functions as plot device. Geer's opposition to law and order archetypes foreshadowed his later blacklisting. By 1951, his name appeared in red channels. He spent years unable to find work before returning as Grandpa Walton. Number 10. Hudson and Curtis's star debuts. Rock Hudson and Tony Curtis both appear in tiny, nearly invisible roles that launch their careers as Universal contract players. Hudson portrays young Bull, a Native American chief in ridiculous wig and war paint. Curtis plays a cavalry trooper in briefer appearance, screen time measured in seconds. Both were studio contract players undergoing star grooming acting classes, fencing, dancing, publicity training. Winchester 73 represented their first significant feature exposure. Hudson's native portrayal is embarrassing by modern standards. Curtis later dismissed his performance as guided by testosterone, not talent. What makes these appearances significant isn't the performances, but the trajectory within 2 years. Both were leading men. Their Winchester 73 appearances demonstrate Hollywood's farm system, where studios develop talent through bit parts before graduating them to stardom. Number 9. 3 authentic Winchester rifles. The production used 3 actual Winchester Model 1873 rifles with documented serial numbers: 551,816, 703,161, and 706,716. These weren't props, but genuine 1 of 1,000 special grade rifles Winchester manufactured as exhibition pieces. Only 136 such rifles were ever made. Universal's props department located the three through collectors and Winchester archives, renting them at substantial cost. Each was insured for thousands, with security guarding them between takes. Using authentic rifles gave Winchester 73 tactile reality props couldn't match the weight, balance, and functionality affected how actors handled them. Stewart later said he could feel the difference, that antique rifles had character and history influencing his performance. After filming, the three returned to collectors, their Winchester 73 appearance adding to provenance and value. Number 8. Universal's Winchester Contest. To capitalize on success, Universal partnered with Winchester Repeating Arms to sponsor a national contest challenging enthusiasts to locate surviving 1 of 1,000 rifles. The promotion promised rewards for anyone documenting authentic specimens. The contest generated enormous publicity, with newspapers reporting on enthusiasts scouring attics and estate sales for forgotten treasures. Several dozen rifles were authenticated, Winchester executives examining serial numbers and records. Some rifles had been stored forgotten, owners unaware they possessed valuable items. The promotion benefited everyone. Winchester gained publicity, Universal promoted the film, and owners discovered valuable antiques. This marketing synergy became template for future promotions. The contest made Winchester 73 a cultural event rather than simple movie release. Number 7. First Stewart-Mann Western collaboration. Winchester 73 initiated the legendary 8-film collaboration between Stewart and Mann, 5 being westerns that redefined the genre: Bend of the River, The Naked Spur, The Far Country, and The Man from Laramie. The collaboration worked because both wanted to deconstruct Western mythology and explore darker psychological terrain. Mann's noir background brought visual sophistication and moral ambiguity. Stewart's wartime trauma gave him access to rage and violence he'd suppressed in earlier roles. Together, they created westerns where heroes were damaged, motivations ambiguous, and violence had consequences. Their partnership established working method, minimal rehearsal, naturalistic dialogue, emphasis on landscape over exposition. The 5 Stewart-Mann westerns are transitional works between classical Hollywood and revisionist 1960s westerns, influencing everything from High Noon to Unforgiven. Number 6. Writers Guild nomination recognition. Winchester 73 screenplay earned a Writers Guild nomination for Best Written American Western, recognizing the script's innovation in transforming conventional formula into psychologically complex narrative. The nomination validated Mann's extensive revisions and Chase's reconceptualization. The nomination was significant because Westerns rarely received writing recognition. The genre was considered formulaic. Winchester 73's nomination acknowledged Westerns could achieve narrative sophistication. Chase's script pioneered the portmanteau Western structure, where multiple storylines intersect through a central object, later used in How the West Was Won. The episodic structure allowed Winchester 73 to function as compressed frontier history. Though the film didn't win, the nomination changed how Hollywood viewed Western screenwriting, encouraging writers to approach the genre with literary ambition. Number 5. Dan Duryea's career. Best Villain. Character actor Dan Duryea delivered what many consider his finest performance as Waco Johnny Dean, Winchester 73's psychotic outlaw. Duryea specialized in sneering villains, but Waco Johnny elevated the archetype into something genuinely terrifying: a left-handed, fast-draw killer who enjoys inflicting pain. Duryea's performance almost steals the film according to reviews, his scenes with Winters crackling with predatory menace. Waco Johnny represents pure evil, uncomplicated by psychology. He kills because he enjoys it. This amoral simplicity makes him more frightening than conventional villains. Duryea's reedy voice and slight build paradoxically enhance the menace. Waco Johnny doesn't need imposing physicality because his gun grants power. The performance influenced countless Western villains. Though Duryea never achieved leading man status, his Waco Johnny remains more memorable than many actors' entire filmographies. Number 4. Box office phenomenon. Winchester 73 became one of 1950's top-grossing films and Universal's biggest hit, earning approximately $2,025,000 in theatrical rentals. This represented enormous return on the modest $750,000 budget, validating both the profit-sharing arrangement and Mann's directorial vision. The success revitalized the Western genre, which major studios considered dead. Throughout late 1940s, audiences rejected traditional cowboy pictures. Winchester 73 demonstrated that adult westerns treating frontier life with psychological complexity could find modern audiences. The success triggered immediate imitators. Every studio rushed western productions into development, creating the 1950s western boom. Universal immediately contracted Stewart-Mann for another western. The box office made Stewart enormously wealthy through profit sharing. His $600,000 take exceeded combined salaries from his previous 5 films. Number 3. Stewart's Post. War Reinvention. Winchester 73 marked Stewart's deliberate transformation from nice guy everyman into darker, more complex persona. World War II profoundly changed Stewart. He'd commanded bombing missions over Germany and witnessed carnage that shattered his pre-war innocence. He returned, haunted, suffering what would now be diagnosed as PTSD. Stewart's immediate post-war films tried maintaining his pre-war persona. It's a Wonderful Life cast him as idealistic everyman, but Stewart knew he couldn't sustain the nice guy act. He was different, harder, angrier, damaged. Winchester 73's Lynn McAdam channeled that darkness. Lynn is driven by revenge, capable of murder, psychologically scarred. This matched Stewart's internal reality far better than George Bailey's optimism. Critics initially doubted Stewart could play tough, but his performance silenced skeptics, revealing intensity and rage audiences had never seen. Winchester 73 liberated Stewart from his pre-war image prison, allowing him to channel wartime trauma into art. Number 2. Cinematographer William Daniels' mastery. Cinematographer William H. Daniels, a Hollywood legend who'd shot Greta Garbo's greatest films, brought visual sophistication that elevated Winchester 73 beyond typical Western aesthetics. Daniels had photographed Queen Christina, Camille, and Ninochka, earning reputation as master of glamorous portraiture. Daniels used deep focus cinematography to create spatial depth, keeping foreground and background in sharp focus simultaneously. This technique, popularized by Greg Toland and Citizen Kane, gave Winchester 73 unusual visual richness. The Dodge City contest sequence demonstrates Daniels' mastery, capturing both Stewart's intense concentration and the surrounding crowd in perfect clarity. Daniels' lighting brought noir sensibility to Western genre, using shadows and contrast to create moral ambiguity. Critics praised Winchester 73's visual sophistication, noting it looked more expensive than its budget suggested. Daniels' work influenced every Western cinematographer who followed. Number 1. Mann's stock company creation. Anthony Mann used Winchester 73 to establish a mini-stock company of character actors who would appear in subsequent films, creating ensemble continuity similar to John Ford's legendary repertory. Millard Mitchell, John McIntyre, J.C. Flippin, and Dan Duryea all returned for future Mann productions. Mitchell became Mann's most frequent collaborator, appearing in Winchester 73, The Naked Spur, and others before his 1953 death. His grizzled sidekick characters provided comic relief and moral commentary. McIntyre, who plays shifty Indian trader, returned as villain in The Far Country. Flippin's crusty sergeant launched his association with Mann. The stock company approach created efficiency. Mann knew these actors' strength and could write specifically for them. It also created thematic continuity, familiar faces suggesting larger meditation on masculinity and frontier mythology. Mann's ensemble deserves equal recognition to Ford's famous stock company. Bonus fact: the film's teaching legacy. Winchester 73 became required viewing in film schools and military academies, studied as perfect example of economical storytelling. West Point used it to teach tactical thinking battle sequences, providing case studies in military planning. Film schools analyzed Mann's visual storytelling, showing how camera placement could communicate psychology without dialogue. The educational adoption gave Winchester 73 second life, transforming it into a pedagogical tool, introducing new generations to classical Hollywood craftsmanship. Roger Ebert called it a model of storytelling economy. Modern filmmakers cite Winchester 73 as influence. Quentin Tarantino structured portions of *Inglourious Basterds* around objects with histories, acknowledging Winchester 73's influence. Academic study validated Western genre as worthy of serious criticism. The film's teaching legacy ensures each new generation encounters Mann's work, perpetuating influence that continues shaping how Westerns are conceived. Winchester 73 endures not as forgotten Western, but as revolutionary game-changer that transformed how Hollywood structured deals, revitalized dying genre, launched greatest director-actor collaboration in Western history, and proved commercial success and artistic sophistication could coexist when craftsmanship met vision. The darkness behind its creation, Universal's inability to pay standard salaries, Stewart's bleeding knuckles and PTSD-driven reinvention, Fritz Lang's rejection, Shelley Winter's confusion, the authentic rifles worth thousands makes its achievement more remarkable. A film born from budgetary limitations and desperate gambles became template for modern profit sharing, established Anthony Mann as master director, and created 5 subsequent masterpieces that defined 1950s westerns. James Stewart earned $600,000 through revolutionary deal structure. Anthony Mann graduated from B movies to A-list. Rock Hudson and Tony Curtis launched stardom, and the Winchester Model 1873, already legendary as the gun that won the West, gained second life as cinema's most famous firearm. Like and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes revelations that change how you see your favorite films forever. As the Winchester 73 proved, sometimes the greatest revolutions start with simple questions. What if we paid stars differently? What if westerns could be complex? What if nice guys could play dark? The answers transformed Hollywood forever, and it all started with one perfect rifle changing hands across the frontier of American cinema.